Okay, hello everybody. Today we have a stove from Dilo in Prague. Can we see that? Yep. And this actually has a date of 1984. I'll show you a picture of that closer up. I don't know which month, but it's 1984. It's a Dilo Varik stove. Nice little typical sort of a cardboard box for those times. Quite a nice box. I will be keeping that. Inside you have the stove. And the instruction leaflet in typical paper from those days, all in Czech. I haven't looked at used Google Translate or anything on it. There's no dates to show when the instruction leaflet was printed, but these have been out for years. Comes with its own pot, which is tiny. Fold out handle, which I presume will get very hot. Wooden top. So we look at it from the side and compare it to my Soto lighter. You can see just how small the pot actually is. And there it is on its box. Now, I'll just take the box out of the way, we don't need it anymore. I'll be keeping it for display purposes. Now let's have a look at the weight. This has had no fuel in it, it's straight out of the box. And it weighs 160 grams. Very small. Now, when I took this out of the box and put everything together, I thought a piece was missing, the base, but it gets attached to the lid. So put that there. This is the base. We have a snuffer for the burner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 holes in the burner. Three little holes to allow alcohol to go in to the wadding, which will be in the hollow wall. I have not filled this with alcohol yet. So what I'll be doing is I'll be filling it and letting it soak for a while. Then there are two walls which would go on there. Now the way it works is we put on the burner, we put on both of these walls, and then there's a ridge in the little pot and it will sit there quite happily. And to snuff it out, we just drop that in. This does not have any rubber seal. You would have to isolate this from your pot unless you want alcohol bitters from the anti-drinking thing that they put in to meths and bioethanol. You'd have to isolate that with a plastic bag like we have with the yellow Trangia bags, and you'd have to empty everything out. There's no way of sealing that for transport. Now, one other thing that I was thinking of is that this base, it does touch the ground, but this base you could put a mat underneath, like what I use for some of my alcohol burners. I use the silicone coaster. It fits perfectly underneath. That would supply a little bit of insulation. Solid fuel tablets will fit in this. Fire gel will fit in this. And also, of course, the burner itself. So you could use this with 3 different types of fuel, which is quite handy. Bear in mind, of course, that when you use the fire gel or an Esbit, or these are from a military Lithuanian ration pack, they do leave residue that you'd have to clean out and might cause this to not sit flat. It's stable. Once that pot is on, you could use bigger pots. Well, obviously you'd probably have to use a bigger pot. They will sit on this. A titanium mug will sit on this perfectly. So you just make sure you don't knock it off. There's no serrated edges or anything on that. The height between the burner and the pot support is about, let's see, just over 3.5 centimeters. Right, what I'm going to do, it's a very small well, but I've got a funny feeling this will suck up a lot of alcohol when I fill it. Because this is straight from the box, and the date on it was the same year that I left school, which was 41 years ago. So it'll be very, very dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the lid and leave that for half an hour or so to soak. Don't worry, I won't leave you waiting for half an hour. Now in here I have 400 mils of water, and just out of interest, how much water does this take? If it's about 300, I'll be quite happy. Of course, we wouldn't fill it up to the top. And we'll see how much it holds. Safe 200 mils to be exact, which is a cup of coffee. You couldn't use this for reconstituting any meals or anything, it's just too small. So we'll just put the lid on that. Yeah, as you can see, because it's such a deep lid, you can't put anything else on. This doesn't have any real coating, it's just paint. That is going to get very hot, I think. So we'll leave you for half an hour, and I'll get some silicone to hold this with, tidy up a little bit, and then we'll give it a test. And just out of interest, here we have a 600ml titanium pot which fits on quite well. I'll just show you from the side. And there we have, it fits on okay. That would also be alright. So I would say a 750 would also fit on it. As long as you have a stable surface, it'll plonk on quite well. Let's just see, is that absorbed? Yeah, it looks like it's absorbed it quite well. We shall move that over to the side. I have my pot grippers. I will see how long it takes to bloom and then to boil 200 mils of water. I'm not that optimistic. Yeah. We'll see if we can reduce the light a little bit. It's taking its time to bloom. That's probably due to the fact that it's been sitting dry for 41 years. I'll just set the stopwatch now and we'll see how long it takes. What we'll do is I'll just show you the results at the end. And I'll fast forward this because nobody wants to watch paint dry or a stove which I believe will not be that efficient. It's heating up the water. So I could end up spilling a lot of hot water here, so bear with me. Yep, we have a boil and the time is 9 minutes. Okay, now there had been a little bit of flame coming up the sides at one point. There must have been a draft or something, and it's melted the plastic, or the paint rather, on the handles. Now just to snuff it out, that's quite high. Okay. So, what do I think? 9 minutes to boil 200 mils of water. Okay. Yeah. It's not ideal. The other thing is, that's still lifting from the steam. I'll have to drill a hole in the lid to allow steam to escape, probably round about there. Flames are coming up the side. The paint is not heat proof, it's just coming off, it's just there for show. The snuffer works, that's good. I'll just take this off because that's starting to annoy me now. Would I use this in the field? Or on the trail? Maybe for a day trip, hill walking, instead of taking Trangia Mini or such like. The downsides are I'd have to take a silicone gripper or maybe add some silicone tubing onto these. I'll have a look into that in the future. Also the capacity, it's only 200 mils, all fits in lovely, tiny, 160 gram weight. You could probably stick that in your pocket, but you're going to get 1 cup of coffee out of that for each boil. The biggest downside, of course, is I'll just remove these. Well, you'll need to use a windshield as well because this isn't a windshield, this is a pot support. They do get quite hot. That one's alright. As you can see, there's still alcohol in there. I would have to wait until this cools down and then transfer it back into my fuel bottle. I can't carry that. I'd also have to, well, I will now have to wrap that in a polythene bag because it all stores inside the pot. When my wife first saw it, she asked if it was for a doll's house, which was quite amusing. It does work. 9 minutes for 200 mLs of water isn't ideal, but it's fine. I would class this as a picnic stove. If you're out and about, you're just having a picnic, you want some hot water, away you go, this will do fine. I would think it would perform even worse on Esbit tablets or gel. Plus the fact if I was using Esbit tablets or gel, it would totally ruin the base, the little cup base at the bottom. As a collector's item, yeah, it's nice. I'll have that in its box on the shelf where it was in the picture that I showed you on my community page. I will drill a hole in the top just to have a steam release. You do get a bit of suction as well once the steam is worked up, and you can get a little bit of overflow of water, which isn't ideal. So what do you think? Would you use it? Would you buy it? It didn't cost much. I think it was about 23 euros, although delivery charges were quite expensive because they only offer next day delivery. If you were using it with a different size pot, as I showed earlier, yeah, you could use it for preparing dehydrated food, 2 people's coffees, whatever, tea. Just with the little pot it has there, it's like the little pot for the Svea. It's there as an idea, basically. Now, if you were to put this setup inside a Trangia teacup, it would probably be very good. The burner isn't as good as a Trangia, but the stand is a nice little stand. I like it. If you liked what you saw, give us a like, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and I'll see you all next week. Bye now.